There is another school of thought about museums. It's possible to have too much of a good thing. A museum so big that visitors are overwhelmed by the size of the collections, if not the size of the building. Working on the principle that small is beautiful, one historic art collection in Basel decided to create a museum in miniature. A jewel box of steel and glass on a domestic scale, built with all the rigour and finesse that Switzerland expects, but designed by the Italian architect Renzo Piano. The Beyeler houses the modern art collection of the late Ernst Beyeler, a sophisticated and much admired art dealer who lived and worked in Basel. The New York Times called him Europe's preeminent dealer in modern art. In the 1980s, Beyeler converted his remarkable collection into a foundation and began to think about his legacy. This is it.
At the core of it is a true passion about art and an understanding what art is, and a love for nature, and a desire to create a place that is human, that is of highest quality, but doesn't intimidate you, that connects nature to architecture, to art, and puts them in harmony. To also respect the history, the culture of the place, but also to be open-minded and interested in technology, in the future, not to make a museum and its building something that is very firm and stable and fixed, but something which is open for different kind of artworks, but also for different kind of use by the visitors.
The Beyeler Foundation Museum sits in Riehen, Beyeler's hometown. On one side, the main road, on the other, open fields running to the German border. Ernst Beyeler asked Renzo Piano to unite architecture, art, and nature. No competition. Piano was the architect he wanted, and Piano delivered.
It's very interesting what Renzo was able to achieve. On the one side, to root the building in the landscape, to create a site that's almost has always been there. When you look at the columns, it almost could be like the ruins of something from the past, but to give it this gravity. But on the other side, the levity, the light, the lightness, and to combine that in such an elegant way was really a major achievement. It is a building that when you work in it and when you use it, you're surprised. It makes everyone and everything look good, but it doesn't do it with an effect. It's not trying to impress you. It's very subtle. And maybe the subtleness and the inner qualities are something that is much more sustainable and makes it also, because it was never fashionable, it doesn't also go out of fashion. Ernst Beyeler didn't think it was a contradiction to aim for the highest quality, but also to share it with the widest possible audience. He actually put him and his wife in as the mission of the museum to share art of high quality with a large public, and especially to generate interest amongst young people for art. Remembering Ernst Beyeler, he was a man who always said quality is coming first, second and third, and if you orient yourself towards quality, everything else will come after. He was also very much into detail, and I think so is Renzo Piano, and they worked a great deal on what the French call soigner les détails. And they did a lot of detailed changes and things that you don't notice. And I think it also makes this building very nice because they were able to hide a lot of technology, complex technology, and to make everything seem effortless.
Ernst Beyeler died in 2010, but not before he'd seen the museum he and his wife Hilde had commissioned open its doors.
Renzo Piano is probably the architect who has built the most museums of any architect, at least living architect. And Ernst Beyeler was probably one of the people who have seen most and known inside out museums around the world. And I think they both understood their qualities, but they also understood their challenges. And I think the first idea was not to create a museum, but a place for artworks and a place for people. And obviously museums have proven to be very successful over time in bringing those two together. So I think they were looking for the good qualities in museum, but still making museums more human. Human scale, a sensitivity, not only intellectual and educational approach, but also everyone can be who they are in this building and in this park. Renzo Piano said that Ernst Beyeler, when you ask Ernst Beyeler, like, what is the briefing for this building? He gave the title of a work by Henri Matisse, Luxe, Calme et Volupté, and that was more about the feeling that you have when you're here, which is interesting. All of that, I think, contributes to a very special concept of a museum.